Welcome to another in the series, Sip and Chat, a place where we talk about the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. It's our pleasure this afternoon to be coming into your homes and to be talking about the goodness of the Lord. Welcome to another in the series, Sip and Chat, a place where we interact with individuals who have survived highs, lows. We look at the ebbs and the flows and just what it means to exist in a world where there are so many challenges, but still coming out shining. This afternoon, I have with me a young Jamaican star. And I say young Jamaican star, a young man, because it's so important for us to understand that amidst all that we hear around us, there are still young men who are blossoming and they're producing excellent results both academically and professionally. And this is a story that we want the entire Jamaica and ultimately the world to be aware of, that in the midst of the despair, in the midst of the dryness, there can be success. My guest this afternoon is no other than Mr. Andre McKenzie. I always say to you, remember the names because you're going to see them. A 21-year-old man who is going to make Jamaica so very proud. Coming from humble beginnings, which he will talk to us about today, and heading straight for the stars, both figuratively and symbolically, but it's going to happen. So, welcome, Andre, to the program. It's our pleasure today to be here speaking with you. So, Andre, just tell us a little bit about who is Andre McKenzie.
Thanks for having me at Chat. Well, Andre McKenzie is a very honest person, right? He is a guy that is trustworthy, very determined, right? I don't make excuses. I ensure to do whatever I have to achieve my goal, and trust me, I never give up. Never. Giving up is not an option. So
I love that. I love that.
yeah,
A lot of young people need to hear that. That this is a young man who hails from the Tivoli Gardens community, and the story it becomes even more interesting as we delve deeper into how this young man has blossomed in a community that we love to write off and to say that can anything good come out of Nazareth, like it said in the Bible? And yes, you can. So if you anybody who is not directly in front of your TV and need to get in front of your TV right now. So Andre, I
yeah.
know that you're heading off to Naples, but before we get to why you're heading off to Naples, tell us about what life was like growing up in Tivoli Gardens.
Honestly, life in Tivoli Gardens is very, very rough, right? Very rough. I mean, a lot of young talents are in the inner city, and if I think the government should take keen eye in the inner city, that's where the real talents are, like myself. And life in Tivoli Garden, I mean, I'm from Tivoli Garden. I mean, good people come from the ghetto,
Mhm.
and you can make it out if you stay dedicated and avoid peer pressure.
Right. So that's very, very important. So, I mean, you are also punctuating what we have tried to say to many persons that listen, though you come from a certain place, you can defy the odds. You can defy the odds. I too am from an institute community, Jones Avenue. I mean, no, when you see Jones Avenue News, you say, what? But here we are today, talking about surviving and making it against the odds. So when you were growing up, you talked about peer pressure. What was the atmosphere like for you as a youngster trying to say that, listen, you make it out of the ghetto? How did you survive?
All right. The peer pressure is the main reason why some students or some children in the inner city lack away from their education. Like, I mean, for example, like when I was in first form, I attended
Tell us the distinguished high school.
I attended Dodun Technical, right? In first form. Like when I got homework, I would be like, okay, I'm going to do my homework now and everything. But then my friends would call and say, Andre, let's play football, let's play what do you call it, clappers war and stuff like that. And in the ghetto, you're not gonna say no. I go on. 15, I go
Yeah,
on.
'cause you know what a man
Yeah.
Mackie and
Man,
say,
I
yo,
say,
man, you
you're a
can
nerd
soft
and
as
you're
a
soft soap.
nerd.
So, peer pressure in the inner city is very vital, and we should teach the young men how to avoid peer pressure. And I'm up for that challenge to show and teach every young man and every young children how to maneuver peer pressure.
Right. So tell us, Andre, what were some of the strategies that you use? So a man knock your door and say, yo, youth, come and play ball with us. Come and hang out with us. But you knew that, listen, education was going to be a vital vehicle to get you out of the inner city. Tell me how you were able to speak back to them and say, I have something that's more important to do. How did that work?
All right. You see, I'm a leader,
Right.
right? I'm a leader, and me not follow people. Me set my own trend.
Right.
So once I said no, I'm not going to do that, they respect me,
Okay.
right? They have to respect what I choose because that's who I am. However, some of them vex. Some people
Right.
vex and say, "Oh, if I eat up in a house and that," but at the end of the day, it still pay off. It still work out, right? And I mean, I lose a lot of friends because of me going to the right path, but a life and life goes on.
Very good. So one of the lessons that we're learning here from persons who are listening to the program, you might be a youngster in the inner city as well, or you might be impacting lives through the inner city. You have to have fixity of purpose. You have to know what is it that you want. And like Andre said, sometimes on the road to success, you're going to lose some friends, but you
Definitely,
have to understand that listen, I can't compromise today because I have a brighter tomorrow. Because
definitely.
I mean, Andre's story, as I said, is so exciting. He's a young man, like he said, he attended Dunoon Technical, and that's also very important because sometimes in our minds we believe that we have to go to what we call a brand name high school
Yes,
to be able to be successful. But you are showing to Jamaican that listen, all you need is a mindset that says, listen, I'm a winner. I'm not a loser. I'm not going to be a victim of my situation, but I'm going to learn to rise above the situation. So tell us what was school life like, and were you like a little nerd anyway at school?
no, I wasn't a nerd. All right. So I went to two high schools exactly. All right. At at Dunwood Technical High School, I went from first to fourth form. I was always a leader, right? I always do my work, and I'm always coming in the top five
Okay.
in all semesters. But what I always get in trouble for is ear and tight pants because for me to learn, for me to be stand out, for me to be the best of myself, best version of myself,
Mm-hmm.
I have to always be
Unique,
comfortable. Yeah, I
right?
have to feel comfortable. So my ear have to well groom and my pants have to neat and my desert clothes have to clean, you know. So that's how it is. But I then got a scholarship from Mona High School. That's where I decided to change my life because at
Okay.
Dunwood Technical I
From
was
the noon to Mona,
yeah
right?
at Dunwood Technical I was very disruptive, you know, the life. I
Mm-hmm.
mean I do my work, but otherwise I follow friend peer pressure again. That real. I follow my friend them and you know there's some things I'm not supposed to.
Okay.
So I there was a Coles match under U16 match right Mona versus Dunwood Technical and I was playing and I did very well. And Mr. Jones, Mona High School principal, thank God for Mr. Jones. He was the one that gave me that scholarship. He was the one that came across to me at the field and said, Andre, you need that school. And that's when I started Mona High School and I decided to change the focus on my football career, education, and done with the badness, done with the rudeness.
Okay.
That's where I decided to change. And at Mona, I did extremely well. I do what I do best, lead and help to encourage others.
Right. So it's a little bit about the academic accomplishments in the CXC, what you did and stuff like that.
All right. So at Dunwood Tech, I did in 10th grade, I did three subjects. I did technical drawing, maths, and city and guilds,
Mm-hmm.
English. I got a
Right.
distinction in city and guilds, and I got a 4 in technical drawing, and I got a 3 in maths.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I attended to Mona, I did over the subjects. I got 1 in physical education, 2 in integrated science, 2 in technical drawing, 2 in English, 2 in math. And I failed geo, physics, and chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah, I failed, but that doesn't determine your future.
Right.
Honestly, that doesn't.
Because why this is important is that all that time when you're in your community in Tivoli Gardens, you had a dream, and that dream
Yes.
was becoming a pilot.
Pilot.
Tell us what triggered that dream. Why not a doctor, professional footballer, teacher? Why a pilot?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. All right. I remember when Movado was shooting a video at Tivoli Garden. I think it was I'm on the rock. And the helicopter in the air. I saw a helicopter in the air and I was like, whoa, I really like this aircraft and I want to fly it. Did my research and I found out that it is flown by pilots. And I said, what? Okay, I want to become a pilot. And from that, I didn't change my path. None at all. I just said, yo, pilot it is. Pilot, pilot,
Excellent.
everything pilot. Eat, sleep, breathe, pilot. Never change my mind.
So young people, once you have a dream, you have to nurture the dream. So just seeing the video being shooted at yourself, that's what I want
That's
to
what
do.
I want to do.
And you not only said it, but you acted upon it. You began to
Definitely.
read about it, you began to study what it requires to become a
I'm a
pilot.
pilot.
So even the days when you were at the noon technical and things never go your way, pilot was still in your head.
Pilot. I don't know. I just say I want to become a pilot. I prayed on it. I sleep on it every single day. I ask God for it.
That
That's
is
what I want to
good.
be. Pilot, pilot, pilot. Even when I'm at my lowest, even when I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time. I just always have it at the back of my head that I will become a pilot to tick our thing.
All right. I mean, Andre, your story is so inspiring. We're talking to Jamaicans, or there are young people, adults that listen. My mommy always said Rome was not built in a day. And though the vision tarry, as long as you're persistent and resilient, bouncing back from your setbacks, because that's what life is about. Life is made up of episodes. And just like in any movie, sometimes there are
I
highs,
something.
sometimes there are lows. But hope shines brightest in the darkest
Darkest
moments.
moments.
And so if we didn't have the dark moments, we wouldn't know what hope feels like and success feel like. Andre, talk to us about like one of those days when you just felt very daunted. Even though you had a dream, you just said, boy, maybe this is the end of the road. Talk to us about one of those moments in your life.
All right. Well, I never once doubted myself about becoming a pilot. However, I do have moments where I feel like nothing is going my way. Like, for example, when the COVID came around,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, I was very devastated. I was overwhelmed because that that COVID in during that COVID time, I was supposed to leave the country to start my flight training, but because of that, there's a lot of setbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But every setbacks have a greater comeback,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Say
would
that one more time. It sounds so good. Just talk right to our viewers and let them know.
every setback have a greater comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was depressed and I feel like I mean never going to happen. But then I stay true to myself, I keep my focus and I'm a very determined person. So I work towards it. I pray to God every single day to make it happen and to make things go extremely well for me. And here I know and trust me, it
So
will pay off.
right. So the vision was deferred about 2 years because COVID took us
Oh,
about 2 years. But here you are now ready and set to go to
Naples,
Naples
yes, center.
in Florida. This Naples Aviation Center, right?
Yeah,
And you go off about in the next 2 or 3 weeks to
that is right.
boy, what a story. A young man coming out of Tivoli Gardens. I went to the noon technical, transitioned to Mona High School with a dream from a very tender age that he wanted to become a pilot. Didn't do well initially in his CXCs, but was persistent. I mean, with a dream that says, listen, I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Talk to some young youths out there who say, boy, I don't know, not now go on for me. Just have this mentality that, listen, I have to do something, I'm forgetting the badness and the rudeness because nothing not happening for me. Talk to us about just holding on to your dreams.
All right, guys. When I put up the team, right? In order for you guys to make it in life, you have to stay dedicated to your dream. Chase your dream. Or your dream. If you don't do it, nobody not gonna do it for you. Stay focused. Alright, me have a journal of me writing every single day. Right?
Uh-huh.
I write in my journal every single day. Up to today, this evening, I will write in my journal about how today went. So write in your journal, write down your dreams and how you plan to accomplish your dreams.
Because it don't make sense you're a dreamer, you don't have
You have a
have
plan.
any plan. And that is part of one of the reasons why persons are not successful. So once you have a dream, young people, Andre is reminding us and reinforcing that you need to make the vision clear,
Clear.
write
Write
it
it down.
down. And one of the big things that we talk about here on Sip and Chat is the whole matter of a vision board. Because when you have your dream written down, it's like you wake up in the morning, you see the dream and look at you. And then, like
Definitely.
you rightfully said, that there are moments when you say, no, this
Yes.
I must have a nightmare, you know. But you wake up and you say that it is going to happen. It's going to happen. So that's a very important nugget that we need to hold dear to us. That when we write down the vision every day, we see how close
Close, yeah.
or how far we are from the vision, and then we know where to plot our next move. All right, talk to us some more about that.
Yeah. And for future references, in my journal, I'm planning to write a story, right? So all the jottings I have in my journal, I will transition it into a story, into a book of how to become successful. So look out for that 2 years from now. But yeah, young men, avoid peer pressure. It's okay to think positive. Always think positive. It's okay to be different from others, right? It's okay. Trust me, it's okay. You don't have to follow your friends, right? Stay true to yourself, motivate yourself, do some gym work, do some reading. That will help you. Trust me. That's what I did.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say, Andre, is that for the young men as well as young ladies, but especially our young men, because so many of them have become victims of circumstances, victims of their habitat. You know, you grow up on the streets. I had an encounter with a young man the other day, and I said to him, "What is your career goal?" Because he was brought to me, and you know, the young man said to me, he said, "Miss, badness are doing, you know." I was
Come
like,
on.
"What?" I mean, those are some of the realities that we have to deal with, and like you rightfully said, I mean, he said, listen, the people that work 9 to 5 now, they're not going to develop this. And I was like, what a image, what a concept that our young people are embracing. But here we have another success story that, listen, we have young men out there who are focused, young men who are saying, listen, I am going to pursue my passion no matter what happens. Talk to us about some of the people in your life who might have played out an important role. And before we get to that, though, you said something to me before we came on here that you are really a self-driven person. Tell us what it means to be self-driven.
For me, self-driven meaning it's all about the mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right? I never once have a negative thought. I'm always positive. Even if a negative thought came to mind, it lasts like 10 seconds. I'm always positive. I always tell myself that I can do it. And that came from my dad because my dad said I should always be the better version of myself. I should always be the first in everything. I should always be the best in everything. So that's where I get my Mr. Perfectionist from, my confidence from. So I'm always confident. I always believe that I can achieve anything I
I
want.
like that you got it from your dad. And again, we've seen the role of father and child. So your dad set a platform that says, listen, you're going to be the best version of yourself.
Yes.
And many persons are out there, you know, they haven't come into their fullness as yet because what they're seeing and doing, bad man shatter, that's not them.
Scamming.
That's not them.
It's not them.
You be in it, you're the best scammer. That's not the best version of
That's not the
you.
best version of
God has bigger and better plans
plans.
for you. And you know what? I'm reminded of the story, you know, about the prodigal son. He thought his best version of himself was to go to his father before he reached this time to say to him, say, Daddy, give me what belongs to me. But when he was in the pigsty, he had an, we'll call it an enlightened moment when he recognized that his money was now finished. And now he was rolling. When he had the money now, he was rolling with his friends. But now, when his money was finished, he was rolling with the pigs. But what I always like about that story, which is what I really always try to bring home, there was a time when it says that he came to himself and recognized that, listen, trying to compete with the pigs for food is not the best version of me. And a lot of people are doing things today, even if you are making it, that's not the best version of you. And that's what Andre is saying to us, that there's always better. What we're seeing today, we can modify, change, get ourselves on the potter's wheel and become the best that we can be. Excellent. And so you continued every day to try to refine Andre.
Yes, I do. I do numerous jogging, read a lot. I also play football for Pembroke 8 soccer.
So
About
you're not just a bookman, but you're all rounded. You play little
yeah, I'm
ball.
multi-talented. So I have an extreme, like I want to play football as well. So in the midst of being a pilot in Naples Center, I have dreams to play for PSC, that's in Atlanta to do some tryouts and play football. I know every kid will have talent.
Right,
So
right.
I'm a really good soccer player, so I'm looking forward to play football while being a player. I mean, it's very challenging, but me, I don't have excuses. I will
Exactly.
make it happen.
I like what you always say. Excuse is not in your book.
I don't have
And
any
if today you
excuses.
fall down, you're going to brush off, put on back your fighting
Um,
gear, and come again. That's so important. So I had asked earlier on, talk to us about a little bit about some of the persons in your life who, you look back and you just want to say to them, thank you for being there. And it could be some persons who initially thought about them, they were challenging, but what you recognize is that sometimes when we're molding people, molding is not a nice, smooth thing.
yeah.
After you mold, you polish. But
Yeah.
when you're molding, you have to knead and so on. Because, as I said, when we're becoming the best version of ourselves, there are always some things that you have to break
Really
off, you have to refine and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, talk to us about some persons who have impacted your life.
The first that impact my life mainly is my grandmother, Barbara McKenzie. Wake up yourself, it's my opposite.
Yes.
Ego. She was the one that taught me everything I need to know about the household. She is the one that pushed me. She is the one that motivates me. She fund everything. Thanks to my grandma. She big up Barbara McKenzie again. I mean, I love my grandmother to my heart.
I can imagine. I see it.
Love my
I see the
grandmother.
beam. I see the beam. Right.
Yeah. I mean, she is one of the one that impacted my life the most, and my dad.
Okay.
Even though my dad is hard on me sometimes, but trust me, he really playing his part. He really definitely playing his part. Thanks to my dad, Andre McKenzie. And my mom, I want to thank my mom for always being there for me emotionally. Enough respect to Christine for it.
Great, 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 great. So, what are you looking forward to most as you travel to Naples next week for your flight training? I mean, would this be the first time you're actually getting as close to probably getting in charge of the plane? I know you'd have done some virtual training before, but what is it that you're looking forward to the most?
Well, I'm looking forward to most at Naples to get my commercial license and my private pilot license, my instrument ratings. I mean, that's the first step to my professional flying career. So that's what I really want. That's what I'm looking forward to. And we're not gonna lie, we love want to go to the gym. Gym on the swimming pool at Naples.
Oh,
Yeah,
from the view, they look good.
yeah. And I mean, at Naples, the schedule will be like eat, sleep, fly because it's mainly about being hours. So no
Okay,
time for lucky. And
okay,
that's what I really want. I want to start my career because every second counts in the pilot industry.
okay, okay. So, how long will you be in Naples?
All right. I'll be in Naples for about 3 years. Yeah, minimum of 3 years.
Okay.
All depends on the weather.
Okay, okay. So once that is finished now, your
I'll be sending out some
applications,
applications to my future airline.
employers.
Yes, which is the Dubai Airways. That's my dream airline.
I was just gonna ask if you have a dream airline that you'd like to fly with.
Yeah.
Boy, there is this poem that says, "As long as there are dreamers, there are bright tomorrows." We know that there is promise that will take us to a brighter light. It might not happen quickly or through the course of the days, but you will soon see changes in oftentimes subtle ways. You simply need the feeling of hope within your heart, and trust things will happen later that will create that magic start. And I listen to you so keenly, and I hear talk about faith. Faith not just in yourself, but faith in God. And you said you prayed a lot. And I think I want you to tell me a little bit about, how important it is to believe in God and know that, He can really bring that hope and against when you feel like you're hoping against hope, that He can really bring hope.
God is a miraculous God. I mean, He works miracles. He is the one why I'm here today. I've been through so much, and He saved me from all that trouble. Troubles that, I mean,
Only Him alone could have
Him
saved you
alone,
out.
He's the only one could pull me through that one. And trust me, God, I really, really do appreciate all the works you have done for me. He is the man, and he will always be the man because God is good.
Amen. But yeah, if I'd have church, I'd have to let the church say amen. But ladies and gentlemen, as we're about to wrap up here on Sip and Chat, it has been such a pleasure interacting with Andre. Met him a few weeks ago
Years ago.
while we were at a career fair over there by
JC.
JC, and I just immediately interacting with him while we were presenting. I just became so engrossed in just this how his level of professionalism as he was interacting with the students as well, and that really drew my attention to him as he stood out as another of Jamaica's brightest and just to say to young men. And that is what appeals to me because a lot of times when we hear of men involved in criminal activity, we hear of them being the 15, the 16, and we say, many persons say, there is no hope. But as we wrap up, I wanted to talk to Jamaica today and let them know that, listen, there is hope. No matter how you hear things going on, I want you to just talk to somebody and let them know that, listen, there is hope. There is always hope. It's just a matter, as you said before, of the mindset. So just talk to us as we wrap up this afternoon.
Guys, it's all about believing yourself. It's all about the dream that you have. And once you keep God in your corner, trust me, light will be shown upon that corner. Keep God in your prayers and have faith, and He will make a path for you. Stay positive, no excuses, and trust me, you will achieve your dream.
Thank you so very much, Andre. Says, no, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Can you imagine? From a tender age, all he saw was a little aircraft in his community, and he said to himself, I am going to become a pilot. He not only said it, but he acted upon it, and that is so very important. Jamaica, a lot is happening in our country today. When we read the papers, we feel very daunted. We say, wonder if we should pack up and leave. But here we are this afternoon saying to somebody here in Tivoli chat that hope is still possible wherever you hail from. Because many people think that it's just people that don't have any hope. Sometimes people who are living in opulence, they're still feeling hopeless because their dreams might be bigger than what their resources can afford. And they might have other challenges. It might be mental challenges. It might be spiritual challenges. It might just be other things. So the struggle is not about just a youth in the inner city. The struggle is real. It affects everybody everywhere. But never forget this, having a positive mental attitude is asking how something can be done rather than saying it can't be done. Paul Bennett says that. So things are not always going to just land on a platter, Life is not always about going into a restaurant and a server comes to you and says, how may I help you? Sometimes you have to get up and go there. Yeah, man, you have to make the first step. But as long as you're determined that, listen, I refuse to die here. I refuse to die in my circumstances, like Andre has said to us this afternoon. Things are possible, and you have to have that mindset. You know what I realized, Andre, as we wrap up? Sometimes when we're looking into a mirror or into water, our shadow actually looks bigger than ourselves. Powerful. Our shadow actually looks bigger than ourselves. So sometimes if we can just look into the future and begin to imagine the mindset, I don't know how we can be able to not understand that your mind is very powerful. Somebody said, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you see yourself as a loser, you're gonna fulfill the loser mentality.
You don't make nothing, you're not get nothing.
Exactly.
You make money, you make more money. Anything you make, you get. So make positivity, make a dream, and you see you get it.
Exactly. So in Andre's words, we have to be careful what we're meddling, what we're thinking about. Where do we put our thoughts daily? Because as a man thinketh, so is he. All things are possible as long as we tell ourselves that I'm gonna try. Don't sit down and say, boy, I'm waiting for the thing to land in my lap, because that is why people get disillusioned, because they are waiting for that moment when something will just land in their lap. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way, and sometimes it's just like a distance away. But sometimes you have to get up and go and be a go-getter. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been such an interesting program. Another young Jamaican, 21 years old, hailing from the community of Tivoli Gardens, had a dream from a tender age of becoming a pilot. Pursued that dreams amidst all kinds of odds, peer pressure, economic pressure, social challenges. But here is it today. leaving in another few weeks for Naples to complete his pilot training, having gone through the theoretical part, right? So it's possible. And you studied the theoretical part right here in Jamaica.
Yes,
so
definitely.
it's just very important for us to never stop dreaming, never stop believing, because as I've always said on this program, where there is a will, there is definitely a way. But it starts all in the mind and believing in the Creator that you're not here by accident. Once you trust Him, it's amazing what faith can do. Thank you again for joining us here on Sip and Chat. Have a great evening.